Hello, Bronwyn Lund here from BronHolm Tours. I'm just once again on the very northern tip of Bornholm Island. I'm actually the walk's going to be a little bit different today because we're going to go and have a look at some disused granite works where the cliff faces are actually quite dramatic. We're actually going to walk into the quarry and then up along the ridge that's behind me and back down towards the coast. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to end the tour at this point, but we'll just see how it goes. So I hope you enjoy the tour. So just up in front of us here and now to our right is the marina, or the harbour that was specifically built for the granite works, and it's actually really great because the quarry has been turned into an open-air museum. So there's actually quite a lot of information about the quarry inside the quarry. It's just up here on the left. So I just thought it would be nice to walk along the coast just so you can get the bearings. We're heading south from the fishing town of Vang, and that's on the north east coast of Bornholm. So on a clear day from here, and particularly from the top of the cliffs, you can actually see Sweden. I don't think we'll be able to see Sweden today, but let's go up and have a look. So as we turn the corner here and go into the quarry, it's a bit of a Mordor experience with the walls, the sheer walls into the quarry entrance. This is the museum part of the quarry. Can imagine these workers, hard work, quarrying granite. These pictures just depict how the quarry looked at the time. You can see here there's actually a belt that takes the granite out along the pier. So, Vang Granite AS was founded in 1969. The abundant deposits of raw materials near Vang were synonymous with new industrial possibilities and jobs on Bornholm. The activities specialised in crushing granite into crushed and bottoming stone in varying dimensions. An enterprising spirit and unwavering faith in industrial technology were the hallmarks of this venture. In the course of 1 year, a big new stone crushing factory was built and contained a crushing unit and a sorting unit, as well as silos for storing the crushed stone. The crushed stone was shipped from a transport jetty directly connecting the granite quarry with the ship's cargo holds. The jetty was unique in Denmark at the time, as it was designed to convey 1,200 tonnes of chipped stone an hour, i.e. at a faster rate than it could be loaded by most ships. The facility was sensitive to fluctuating weather conditions, however, and the granite could only be loaded from the jetty in calm weather. This underground transport unit, which made up part of the sorting facility, is the only remnant from the industrial era 1967 to 1975. There you go. So this is the southern end of the granite works, and I just wanted to show you this part of the granite works because there is this really quite bizarre metal structure up in front of us, which I think must have been a lift or something, but it's just built into the side of the rock. And you can see where the granite's been dug out of the cliff face. So this is a 4-storey high, probably some sort of conveying contraption that was used to get the granite out to the harbour, which is over to the left. So we'll come out of the quarry now, and we're going to go over a bridge, which is a bit of an artistic design. I actually can't remember who did it, but it's quite a famous person who did the bridge design. But it's pretty cool. Just go off to the left here for a minute because there's rather a spectacular lookout, and we can see Sweden today. It's a bit misty. It also gives you a good view of the jetty and the harbour going out where all the granite was shipped out to. Yeah, I think you can see Sweden on the horizon there. Just. You can see all the way up the coast to Vang and the little fishing village Vang and the castle, of course, Hammershus. This is a great part of the island up here in the north. So we'll go over the bridge. You can see through the floor, and I'm not a heights person, so it's a bit scary looking down, but I will look down so you can see that we're right over the top of the path we just walked up. You can see right down the coast, and you can see Hammershus in the distance. That's quite foggy actually today. Now we're just going to walk along the top of the cliff, or across the top of the ridge, back into Vang. As I said, I'm quite glad to be off that bridge. I don't like it. I don't like the see-through nature of the floor of the bridge. I'm a bit afraid of heights. Like a little climb up the side of the mountain here, side of the cliff, and then you can see straight down into the town of Vang. Now that's a lovely little fishing village, and the walk north from Vang up towards the castle is really quite spectacular. You walk up along the top of the cliffs. I think you can see the path actually there with the snow on it. Not so much snow here. There's a bit more up north, further north. As you can see, it's a very quiet time of year here. Not very many people around, so we have the walks pretty much all to ourselves up in this part of the island. Now, it's a good time to be walking along this path because you wouldn't be able to see the coast in summer. These trees will be completely full with leaves, which actually makes it a lovely walk in the summer as well, of course. It's just a completely different landscape in the summer. So here we are at the back of where we started the walking tour. Down to the left is where I did the short intro on that grassed area down to the left. So in another 5 minutes or so we'll be coming back into the town and wrapping up the tour. It's actually about 2 degrees right now. But it's funny, I get so warm on these walks, even though it's cold. My jacket, I'll just get so hot in my jacket. So that's always a good thing, isn't it, to be warm on a cold day. So just up here is an old mill, Vang Mill, where they used to, grind the corn, grind the wheat and the corn and the barley and make everything into flour. Fairly important exercise. Even today, isn't it really, when you think about how much bread we all eat, particularly in Northern Europe and Southern Europe. So you can see here there's a small dam to dam up the water. It goes down to the mill wheel. I assume it's probably open in summer for people to have a bit of a look-see, but it's locked up at the moment. It wouldn't surprise me if it's actually private property. You can see the water wheel there, and I've tried it does actually move around, so I guess when there's enough water the water would actually push it around. Nice view of the sea. And there's some information here about the mill. I'm not really quite sure. I think it starts 1-2. So many small watermills have existed on Bornholm, almost always belonging to one of the farms bordering the streams. Since milling in olden days did not require a licence, there were relatively many mills, the most numerous of which were water mills. There were 2 kinds: the small horizontal water mills that had horizontal driving wheels with vertical shafts and direct power transmission. The large kind of water mills had a vertical driving wheel with a horizontal shaft that extended into the mill house. From here, power was transmitted to a head wheel that powered the vertical grinder shaft that extended up to the grinding mill in the loft. The mill house was most often a 2 or 3 bayed half-timbered structure with mud and wattle or planked walls, and usually with a thatched roof. It kind of looked pretty run down and used in 1930 as well. Just trying to work out when it was actually built. Most mills were designed to grind grain, while some were fitted up as stamping mills and some powered sawmills. Since milling rights were not issued on Bornholm, most of the farms located near mills exploited their streamside location to build a water mill. That's interesting. According to the archives, the first owner was named Paul Hansen. He sold the mill to Janus Holt, who in turn traded with Jens Peter Jørgensen, the Rutsker town mill. From then on, Jørgensen's son, Paul Jensen, who lived in Vang, owned the mill for 25 or 30 years until 1910, spending a lot of money on the millworks. Afterwards, the mill was owned by Paul Jensen's son, Peter Jensen, and in 1931 the residents below the mill hill and the grounds were bought by stonecutter Carl Finn. Today only two of the old characteristic water mills are left on Bornholm, the mill at Sluicegore Farm in Peliska and the elevated millworks in Vang, which is the one behind us. Vang's water mill is the island's only overshot mill. It was listed in 1959 and later made to function in cooperation with the mill laboratory of the National Museum of Denmark. The National Museum's expert at the time, Anders Jespersen, visited Bornholm on an extensive study tour in 1946. On Anders Jespersen's recommendation, features like the thatched roofing were renewed. This happened in 1953. Then it just goes on to talk about further preservation of the mill. As a result of an inspection in April 1987, the water wheel has now been wedged up so it can rotate. During this work, the mill builders ascertained that the dipper wheel wobbled so much that it was not directly possible to get the mill to function. Therefore, the mill has been undressed, i.e. the water wheel can turn without driving the grinding mill. The wheel shares the same roof as the small two-bayed thatched roof half-timbered house built partially into the slope. In 1987, the county of Bornholm re-established the sluice gate and the water supply, which is called Ringbeck Brook. So there you go. I'm going to end the tour here. So that's a little bit of history with a mill and a granite works up in this part of this wonderful island. I hope you enjoyed the tour. This is Bronwyn Lund signing off from the northeastern tip of Bornholm.